Resident Evil 8 is cancelled. Kind of, but not really. I know I'm somewhat late to this, but I still want to talk about it since I've been absent and it's not every day that a company will completely backtrack on an already announced project. Let's talk about it, but first, if you end up liking this video, be sure to subscribe for more content like this. So Capcom recently announced Resident Evil 8 Village at the PlayStation 5 State of Play, but was met with a ton of backlash due to it being in first person and continuing Ethan's story. I'll admit, I'm not the biggest first person fan, and I'm in my fair share of memes just comparing it to Call of Duty, but I was rather excited to see Resident Evil 8 in first person while following the Resident Evil 4 template. About 3 weeks after the announcement, Capcom asked what people prefer to Resident Evil 8 as, and everyone called it Village. So Capcom quickly backtracked and changed the name to Resident Evil Village, thus ending its run as Resident Evil 8. I don't really think this is a big deal, especially given that the version of what was Resident Evil 8 began as Resident Evil Revelations 3 and shaped up to be good enough that they made it a mainline title instead. So if Capcom believes in it, then I do too. The fact it's no longer a mainline title isn't the end of the world. Like, look at all the Resident Evil games we enjoyed without numbers back in the day on the PlayStation 2. So personally, I don't think them dropping this as a mainline title really matters all that much. I am, however, growing concerned with the development of the game post-announcements because there's a lot of cool and experimental things they're adding into the game, from the confirmed werewolves to the rumored hallucinations and much more. So what if, let's say, those are leaked with gameplay instead of descriptors, and then Capcom gives a poll, and it turns out a vocal minority hates it? Then will that mean Capcom will remove gameplay and story elements to please the masses like they did by changing the name of this game? I may be overthinking, but I feel like if a company shows they'll fold if you bark loud enough, then that sets a bad precedent and doesn't bode well. I would love to be wrong, but I feel like it's the worst possible thing Capcom could have done. I like the idea of Ethan's story ending in a mainline Resident Evil, and since this is no longer a main title, it seems odd that his story would end here instead of in a main game, especially given that Ethan's story is what brought Resident Evil back to its roots of jump scares instead of the action stuff we had been accustomed to. In conclusion, I strongly feel this direction was what the main titles needed, but now that this is happening, I'm not sure. What does this mean for the remake of Resident Evil 4? Or Monster Hunter, or even Street Fighter? Everyone says listen to your fans, but this is what happens when you do, and sometimes that can be good, but in situations like this, I feel like it's the opposite. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, try not to die, and I'll see you in the next video.